Good morning, good trouble congregation. I'm Lurleen Rose, the chairperson of Social Justice Council, and I'd like to share with you this morning an experience that I had. In November, my friend Kim, like many of us, was busily preparing for Thanksgiving. She was going from one store to the next as she prepared to host the dinner. On Wednesday, just as she was getting ready to pick up flowers for the table, she realized her wallet was missing. Her heart sank. This time of year was already busy without having to replace everything in her wallet. She dumped out her purse, she checked her pockets, and frantically searched on the ground, on the car seats, under the car seats. The wallet was simply not there. Kim, a long-time Buddhist, took 3 long breaths. She began to retrace her steps. She definitely had it after buying the wine because she had it at the bakery. She had it at the grocery store. She had it at job lots. The last place she stopped before coming home. It was also the last place she expected someone to turn in a wallet. Doubtful and discouraged that her wallet would still be there, Kim and her wife headed out as it was growing dark. Kim ran into the job lots. Max, the man at the cash register, looked like he was in his late 60s. And as Kim put it, had lived a life that ended him up working the late shift at job lots. She asked hesitantly if a wallet had been found. Max said, "I don't think anyone turned in a wallet. In fact, I don't think anyone's ever turned in a wallet here. But let's ask Jess in customer service." In a moment, Jess came downstairs carrying the wallet. She too looked like she'd had a hard life. Incredulous that it had been found, Kim opened the wallet and found that nothing had been removed. Filled with gratitude, she spontaneously handed over all the cash in the wallet to Max and Jess, telling them there had been a reward for the wallet. Jess was stunned, and she thanked Kim, saying her children were sick with fevers. She was worried about taking time off from work to care for them. Kim remembered she needed for bird food, and she rushed off to get it. When she returned to the cash register, Max stood up, shoulders back, and he said, "We appreciate the reward. We decided to donate it to the soup kitchen for people who don't know where their next meal is coming from." Kim said she almost cried as she and Max and Jess hugged, and Max proclaimed it a great night. Later, reflecting on her experience at job lots, Kim recalled Ram Dass Guru telling him the way to find God was to feed everyone. And she continued, "I think generosity is the primary quality of the awakened mind. No true spiritual life is possible without a generous, no true life is possible without a generous heart." And she added, "Generosity is essential to happiness." Kim's story reminded me that despite that the inflation is impacting all of us at the grocery store, others are being hit harder by the reduction or loss of their food stamps and the return of bus fares. Some of us are blessed with enough to share. So please join me as you are able. A bag of non-perishable food items to the food bank, or purchase a card for the in-house food bank. The Social Justice Council is also exploring ways that we may be able to support the Amistad Catholic Worker House in New Haven. Currently, they're housing a number of folks who are unhoused, and they feed breakfast and lunch to folks 4 days a week. They receive no government support. By choice. They've given us a list of breakfast items that they would appreciate, including things like coffee, and they will also welcome trays of prepared food. So if you want to make a tray of ziti, they're happy to take it. Doesn't matter if you have a commercial kitchen. There's also a need for basic toiletries. So see me after this service for more information. You can also sign up, and there'll be a link in the newsletter for you to sign up to contribute, and then we'll organize how we're going to get the food there after we know how much interest there is. So thank you all.
Reminder. Good morning. Thank you. That was a nice good morning. It's so great to see all your faces here. And the folks at home, we're so happy to have them with us in spirit. Welcome. Welcome to this gathering of unfinished souls, both here and what we rightfully call a sanctuary, and to those who are with us in spirit. We are about to make this time and this place sacred by our presence and intention. Here we let go of fears and expectations. We drop the masks that shield us from the world, and we loosen the armor around our hearts. We are about to make this time and this place sacred by our presence and intention. Please turn to someone near you, share a smile, a fist bump, or a wink. And a gentle reminder. Wow. Woo! Okay. I have a gentle reminder that masks are required in the first 5 rows in the section in front of the piano. And today is Soup Sunday. It's not just good food, it's great conversation. If you are new or newish to us and are uncertain whether to take part, come and see me after the service. Also, next Sunday, April 8th at 6 p.m., USNH will hold its annual Seder service and dinner. Saturday. Oh, it does say Saturday. Thank you, Jesse. All are invited, including those not of Jewish heritage. You can sign up for the Seder and get recipes for the potluck dinner in the social hall after today's service.
Good morning. It's great to see all of you here today. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Josh Pollock. I'm the parish minister at the Unitarian Universalist Society East in Manchester, Connecticut, also a proud child of this congregation. And it is good to be back, and it's good to, I'm going to look at the camera and say hello to the folks who are joining us online. I'm going to do the call to worship. And I guess I have a few caveats, and one is that my own father, who many of you knew, and who is in my sermon today, likely would not be able to pay attention because we're talking about baseball, and the UConn men are going to the national championship game. He would be out of his mind over that. So before I do the call to worship, which has us focus on baseball, opening day was Thursday, right? Just be aware of that. It's a tension in the room, I guess. So my call to worship is a quote from the great American rock and roll singer John Fogerty. The song is Center Field. And I know you know it. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. Look at me. I can be center field. You with me? Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. Look at me, I can be center field. All right. We have been called to worship. In Unitarian Universalist congregations, it is our custom to begin worship with the lighting of the chalice flame. This is our symbol of faith, hope, community, and love. Sue is going to light the chalice flame. I'm going to say some words from my colleague, the Reverend Robin Tanner. These are not words about baseball, but they speak to the spirit of baseball. She says, "Blessed are they who try again, who dust off, who wash up, who extend the wish for peace, who return to sites of failure, who are dogged in their pursuit, for they will discover the secret of dreams." Amen. Blessed be. Once again, welcome. And I'm going to hand it over to Jesse, who's going to do the time for all ages.
Good morning. What a wonderful challenge this morning, because if there's one thing I am not, it's a sports guy. But I will say that back in when I was in elementary school, I did participate in a local North Haven baseball league called Max Sinaway for 2 years. And I had such a fascinating experience. At the time, I don't know that I would have described it as fascinating, but in retrospect, it was definitely fascinating. The first year that I played was in the spring of 1986, and I was on a team that wasn't called the Red Sox or the Yankees or anything like that. We were called Comfort Fuel. And we corporate sponsorship so shout out to Comfort Fuel. And that year, I played, I think, a total of 12 minutes. I was on the absolute best team in the league. We did not lose a single game. And we won the league championship, and I spent most of the time on the bench and was put in our final game of the year, not the championship game, but the last game of the regular season, for about 12 minutes in, you guessed it, center field. And at the end, our team won the championship, and I got this trophy. And it was the biggest and most colorful trophy that Mr. Trophy over on State Street had. And for a while afterwards, I had this incredible sense that I had really accomplished something. And so, we signed up again, and the next year, I wound up being one of the better players on the absolute worst team in the league. In fact, I don't remember the name of our team because it didn't get printed on the trophy. And I got this little trophy that says, graduate. And the funny thing about this is the year that I had such a blast. I got to pitch. I got to play second base. I got to play first base. I got on base more than any other member of my team because I was left-handed and got walked all the time. So I ask you, sometimes we have to look at the shiny things in our lives and go, is it more important to be on the winning team, even though we're not participating, we're not truly involved, truly at the heart, truly living out our passion? Or might it be more important to be on a team that's trying really hard and gets knocked down a whole bunch, and maybe we get a trophy in our lives that says, graduate? It's a question I'll leave you with this morning as we sing our children out to their classes with hymn 1015, I Know I Can. We're going to sing verses 1, 2, and 4. Skip verse 3. Take it away, maestro.
This is the time for joys and sorrows. We understand that there are those around us who have profound sadness that they are unable to share. There are also those whose joy can hardly be contained. Both joys and sadnesses are a part of the human condition and can be shared with a hug or an understanding word, because this is where we come to be healed. And we have a joy that on Friday, March 31st, Sue Lagarde and David Stagg welcomed their second grandchild, Natalie Stagg. Parents Emily and Chris, along with older brother Avery, are doing well and are excited to teach Natalie the ways of the world. How precious it is to be in spiritual community on Sunday morning. How precious it is to have this time to learn what is in each other's hearts, to hold each other in our sorrow and grief, to smile and clap and cheer for each other in our times of joy and success. How precious it is, through a ritual such as this, to be reminded that each of our lives tells a story worth knowing, that each of our lives harbors deep and abiding truths, that each of our lives is sacred, and that life is sacred as well. Go now into that moment of silence that is all too seldom a part of our daily lives.
This is the time in our service when we honor when we recognize and remember the spiritual practice of generosity. So I want to remind you that after the service, if you'd like to make an offering, the ushers will gratefully receive it. And now, as co-chair of the stewardship campaign, I'd like to join with the rest of our committee in bringing you up to speed on how we are doing, because this is the last day of the formal end of our campaign this year.
And we've done great. As of this morning, we have 193 pledges, which total more than $463,000, which is nearly 95% of our very ambitious goal. Some folks increased their pledges, some stayed the same, and a few had to decrease, but overall, those pledges make up an 8.5% increase over the current year, and the people who were able to raise their pledges did so by a total of nearly 21%. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So what is still out there? We think there are about 20 members and friends, probable pledgers, who haven't pledged yet. If you haven't pledged yet and can do so, please make your pledge soon.
Every pledge matters, large or small. The last dollar is just as important as the first. It's what we all do together that makes USNH work.
And here's a little presentation to show you the good news and the unfinished news of our current situation.
Well, you remember fundectomy? At least the worst will not have to happen. Coffee hour will not be cut.
Yay! So let's raise a toast to what we have done together.
Oh no, budget cuts means no coffee for one of us each week.
Help us make up the difference. Buy Amy, or you, next week, a cup of coffee.
Thank you, Bill. Friends, I want to invite you into a moment of quiet, a moment of reflection. I'm going to offer a poem from the Boston-based poet Jill McDonough entitled "We're Human Beings." And then we'll hold some silence together and then we'll sing. Jill McDonough writes, "That's why we're here," said Julio Lugo to the Boston Globe. Sox fans booed poor Lugo, booed his at-bat after he dropped the ball in the pivotal fifth. "That ball, I got to it. I just couldn't come up with it." Lugo wants you to know he is fast. A slower player wouldn't even get close enough to get booed. Lugo wants you to know he's only human. We're human beings. That's why we're here. If not, I would have wings. I'd be beside God right now. I'd be an angel. But I'm not an angel. I'm a human being that lives right here. Let's be together in the holy quiet. Let's contemplate these words and what it means to be a human being who lives right here. Amen. Blessed be. Let's sing. The song is number 346 in the gray hymnal. Come sing a song with me. And I think there's a note in your order of service that says for the fourth verse, we won't sing about winter time. And we'll insert the lines, "Come play a game with me." Actually, we may still be singing about wintertime, who knows? As you are able, please rise in body or in spirit. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Play a game. Play a game with me. Come play a game with me. Come play a game with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. All right, please be seated. So before I offer my prepared thoughts, first, congratulations on your stewardship campaign. That sounds like fabulous news. I want you to clap when I say that. I don't know why. I do know a lot of congregations are struggling right now financially, and it sounds like you've reached a great milestone. I also just wanted to name, I know when you all got the news that Reverend Linda Susan was leaving, that was hard. It had to be hard. And so for her, their colleagues in the region, it was hard for us too. We really had gotten to know Linda Susan and love them. And so it's hard, and we, on behalf of my colleagues, and I think it's fair to say on behalf of the other congregations, Unitarian Universalist congregations in Connecticut, we know it's hard, and we know the last thing you want to do is go back into a minister search, and we're with you, and however we can support you, we want to support you. So baseball. I am mindful that the Major League Baseball season officially opened this past Thursday. It's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about baseball today. Baseball, I think, is still the USA's national pastime, though for a variety of reasons that designation seems less and less relevant these days. And I am aware, as I said earlier, the UConn men are in the finals, so it may be hard to focus on baseball right now. Baseball played on brown dirt diamonds in grass green parks in every municipality in the country, not to mention scores of other countries. Gaze down from any airplane window when taking off or landing on a clear day anywhere in the United States, you will see that familiar ballpark shape, and usually more than one. Baseball, the game in which the majority of players, though always poised to make a play, nevertheless pass most of the time, like the fans, waiting. As the writer Levi Stahl put it in a 2007 essay, baseball is a game of punctuated stillness, of dramatic seconds surrounded by casual hours. The quiet intervals of nothingness between pitches make up most of the time spent watching the game. The first thing the best Little League coaches teach their 8- and 9-year-old fielders is the concept of baseball ready. So knees bent, glove forward and open, eyes on the batter, every pitch, be alert, attentive, mindful, present. Other eyes, songwriter Billy Welch summed it up this way. Some of you know this song. In fact, someone already mentioned it to me today. Off in the distance, the game's dragging on. There's strikes on the batter. Some runners are on. I don't know the inning. I've forgotten the score. The whole team is yelling, and I don't know what for. Suddenly, everybody's looking at me. My mind has been wondering, what can it be? The song is called Right Field, so for once, the ball came to right field, and I wasn't ready. I was chatting with my neighbor about baseball. He said his own Little League career lasted exactly half an inning. Top of the first, the coach put him out in right field. The ball never came to him. Overcome with boredom, when his team finally came in from the field to bat, he quit. Brutal, he said. Never again. That's a kid who knew his limits. Baseball is not for everyone. I should add softball. Everything I'm saying applies to softball. Baseball is for me. When my younger son, Max, made Glastonbury's 15 and under American Legion travel team a few years ago, and I learned they would be playing 25 games around Connecticut from early June to early August, and other parents were telling me, quote, "Your life is not your own for the next 2 months. You are now married to baseball. Don't make any vacation plans." I was genuinely happy. I think my wife can vouch for that. I was happy for Max, certainly, and proud he'd made the team, but I was happy for me, too. I enjoyed playing baseball as a kid. I enjoy watching baseball now. If I have time, I'll tell you about my experience coaching, but that's a whole nother sermon. I enjoy the physical game of baseball, the coordination required to hit a ball with a bat or lay down a bunt or catch a grounder in a glove and throw it accurately to first base ahead of the runner, or correctly judge the trajectory of a pop fly deep to the outfield. I also appreciate what a member of our congregation, a lifetime softball player and member of an over 70 team now that travels around the country. Her name's Dorothy Rice. She pointed out this wisdom. She's a pitcher on this team. She spends the winter months practicing pitching by tossing food into her cat's dish. She says, you see, it's spatial judgment, not just physical strength. I enjoy the physical game. I also enjoy the mental game, the way a player knows what they're going to do with the ball if it comes to them in the field. The way a batter knows when to swing and when not to swing. The way a pitcher knows when to throw a fastball versus an off-speed pitch. And I enjoy the spiritual game, the way the batter's confidence at the plate can make all the difference, the way a fielder might bobble or drop the ball but doesn't give up, stays with it, still makes the play, the way players learn to keep themselves baseball ready to respond to any of 1,000 possibilities with every pitch. Something quantum about that, but I haven't quite figured it out yet. And the way Max's team, who were 1-13 halfway through the season, nevertheless kept showing up, kept doing their best, kept having fun, kept running out onto the field inning after inning with the improbable faith that they were a better team than their record indicated. Body, mind, and spirit. After a few innings, I stopped trying to tease them apart. The truth is they blend together beautifully. I'm mindful that sages, mystics, and yogis through the millennia have offered some version of this truth. The body-mind-spirit separation is an illusion. In reality, they are one. Of course, baseball isn't unique in demonstrating this truth. Every sport invites this body-mind-spirit alignment. But perhaps because baseball is such a slow game, dramatic seconds surrounded by casual hours, the keen observer can more easily witness the aligning, can more easily discern body, mind, and spirit working together, merging, blending, a seamless whole. And of course, if you actually are paying attention to baseball, you know that the Major League just instituted some new rules to speed up the game. So slightly larger bases, which means there'll be more stolen bases. There's a pitching clock now. The pitcher has to pitch within 20 seconds. And they have data on it already. It's speeding up the game by about half an hour. I can't convey to you the depth of my enjoyment of this sport without talking about my father, who was a longtime, deeply committed member of this congregation, who died of a heart attack on Memorial Day, 2021. The last time I spoke from this pulpit was at his memorial service, which was October of that year. And it wouldn't seem right not to talk about him this morning. I think we said this part at the memorial service. For those of you who were there, it may sound familiar. It was his father who instilled a love of baseball in him. Briefly, Dad grew up 2 blocks from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. That was the home of the Baltimore Orioles at that time. In the winter of 1954, the Orioles announced a contest for local kids to serve as honorary bat boys during the upcoming season. To attain this honor, you had to submit a poem to the Baltimore Sun that explains why you want to be a bat boy. So my grandfather wrote a poem and signed my father's name to it. The Baltimore Birds are my favorite team. To see them play ball is my fondest dream. To be with the players and manager Paul is not only a dream, but the greatest thrill of all. He won the competition and served as a bat boy for home games for part of the 1954 season. He loved it. He had stories about meeting players like Ted Williams and Mickey Mantle when the Red Sox and the Yankees came to town. And as an indication of just how much of an Orioles fanatic his father was, my grandfather, know that his dying wish was to have his cremated ashes dropped from a helicopter over Memorial Stadium, where the team played before moving to Camden Yards. So Dad loved introducing me and my brothers to the Orioles when we were kids. When visiting my grandparents in Baltimore, we would take a lazy afternoon stroll to the stadium to buy tickets, always in the upper deck, section 34 on the right field side, where Wild Bill Hagee used to lead these raucous chants, "Oh," and I can't do the rest of it. Then we drive to a crab shack and buy crabs, steamed in Old Bay seasoning. We would eat them on my grandparents' front porch in the humid mid-Atlantic summer air and chat with other fans as they walked by on their way up to the game, and then we'd go to the game ourselves, gloves in hand, in case a foul ball should fly our way. It was pure bliss. My twin brother Aaron, did catch a foul ball one year. That was awesome. So Dad passed on the gift of playing baseball to us in the form of a mandate. We had to play Little League once we got to the 3rd grade. It was non-negotiable. We had no choice in the matter. And it didn't matter because we loved it. By the way, we also had a mandate to play musical instruments. Another sermon. By the way, so our teams were Hamden Construction, Kitty's Drive-In, AM/PM Mini Market, which is over there on the corner of Skiff and Whitney, Friends of my parents used to own the AM/PM Mini Mart. And then when I went to Babe Ruth, I was on Unitas. I still have no idea what that is. If anybody knows, let me know after the service. So our uniforms, once my dad started coaching, were orange and black. A blatant Baltimore reference, risky up here in Yankees Red Sox territory. I have so many memories, especially of the way Dad worked on fundamentals with our teams, hitting, catching, throwing, fielding, the way he stressed the mental game, staying focused, present, baseball ready, the way he would walk out to the mound to calm down a pitcher who was getting frustrated, which frustrated the opposing team's coaches by making a slow game even slower. The way he taught us to work on our batting by playing stickball with the neighbor kids. The way before every game he would take us up to the local elementary school, that was Spring Glen in Hamden, where he had painted a black strike zone on a brick wall behind the school. It's a different building now. They've moved it. But he would stand very close and throw tennis balls as hard as he could to work on our timing. And he said, don't worry, then when you get into the game, they're going to be pitching much slower. You'll see the ball much better. But perhaps the most important thing was that he never berated us or any other kid for making a mistake. He consistently encouraged us. An error or a strikeout didn't matter. It was part of the game. You'll get them next time. There are countless ways parents raise their children, pass on values, skills, life lessons. Baseball was Dad's way, one of them at least, one of his gifts. It was a way for him to be close to us, support us, teach us. I'm sure that's the reason I experienced so much joy when I was watching Max's games. So a story. One day our star pitcher, Kenny, was in trouble. He was throwing wild pitches. He was walking batters, getting angry at himself. So Dad took his characteristic slow walk out to the mound to help Kenny settle down. The opposing coach, tired of Dad's patient, game-delaying style, threw his clipboard up in the air and said, here we go again. In front of everyone, Dad gave him the finger. Which resulted in a 3-game suspension. Dad, who coached us so well on not making mental errors, had just made a huge one. It was embarrassing, and worse, my brothers and I privately knew it probably wouldn't have happened had he not had a few glasses of wine before the game and possibly during the game. As I say it, I can just see it. It's one of my most vivid childhood memories, that finger. Oh, boy. So Levi Stahl says, baseball consists largely of failure. Even the best hitters have to accept that nearly 6 times out of 10, they'll trudge back to the bench in defeat. There's nothing extraordinary about the mighty Casey striking out and the Mudville 9 going down in fictional baseball infamy. As much as that classic poem serves as a cautionary tale about hubris, it also describes what happens in the game more often than not. The question in baseball is not whether you will fail, because you will. The question is how you will live with your failures, how you will come back from each one to play again, how you will hold your head high despite your unavoidable and very human proclivity to mess things up from time to time. I can't remember if my father expressed remorse for what he'd done. I can't remember if he ever apologized. I don't think he sat us down and said, I shouldn't have done that. But I do know that his players and the other coaches forgave him, just like he was always forgiving us. When his suspension was over, we welcomed him back with open arms, the same way he welcomed us back to the dugout, time and time again, without judgment, after every error, after every mental mistake, every strikeout. You'll get him next time. The poet Jill McDonough published this poem in 2012. Again, the title is We're Human Beings. It's about the then Boston Red Sox shortstop Julio Lugo, who fans booed one game when he came to bat after having made an error in the field the previous inning. Here are those words again. Lugo wants you to know, she writes, he's only human. We're human beings. That's why we're here. If not, I would have wings. I'd be beside God right now. I'd be an angel, but I'm not an angel. I'm a human being that lives right here. Lugo wasn't asking the fans to forgive him. If anything, he was forgiving the fans for booing him, for expecting perfection from a slow game riddled with imperfection. When body, mind, and spirit blend seamlessly, we are at our best. We play the game flawlessly, but as the mystics will tell you, reaching that state, let alone maintaining it, is very, very rare. More often than not, we are out of alignment and we're not quite ready for what's coming at us. Yes, baseball nudges us patiently towards alignment, towards moments of glory, but it also teaches us to live gracefully and graciously with our mistakes, even when they cost us the game. If we don't learn that lesson, we'll never make it back out onto the field. That was a big part of the gift I received from my father and the gift I continue to receive from baseball. Put me in, coach. I'm ready. May we all strive to be baseball ready. Amen. Blessed be. So let's have the choir. Come on up, choir.
Wow. Wow for the music. Wow for our sermon. Take me out to the old ball game. And now, as we close our service today, please join me in the words we use to extinguish the chalice. You'll find them in your order of service or in the chat on the live screen, or you may already know them by heart. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
So I have some words of benediction, but before I say them, just want to remind you that after the postlude, for which we will remain seated, please join us in the fellowship hall for a celebration with cake of this very successful stewardship campaign. You're all invited. May faith in the spirit of life and hope for the community of earth and trust in the power of love be ours now and in all the days to come.